rocking chair carved from old oak wood, a tin sign saying life is good. Mason jars and candles warm in your palm, everything whispers Susie's on.
Welcome to Susie on the Farm, where handmade dreams come true. From thrifted treasures to crafty creations, there's always something beautiful in the making. So come on in, feel the heart, and let your creativity bloom. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm excited because it is that magical time where we get new IOD products to try out, and I'm so excited to show them to you guys. I only picked a handful to work on today because, to be honest, it's really hard to be creative with all of them at one time, and it's a short window of time that we have to work. But I did 8 projects today using quite a few of the new designs that I can't wait to show you guys. And if you hang around to the end, I'm going to give you a really good view of all the products so that you can make an informed decision on what you want to buy. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. These are the new 2026 summer release products that I used. A couple of molds, a transfer, a paint inlay, and 2 stamps. There's many more, so hang in there and I'll show you the rest. For project number 1, I actually pulled out a scrap piece of wood from my wood pile at the house. It's been there a long time and I don't know what it was used for, but I gave it a good clean and sand just to get it smooth. And now I am taking DIY clay-based paint in the color crinoline, and I'm going to be using the new paint inlay called Alfred Peets & Co. I'm obsessed with the colors in this paint inlay. It's so beautiful. I can't even describe how beautiful it is, and I know it's going to be beautiful on all colors, but I couldn't wait to use it with crinoline. So I did a second coat of paint, pretty good coat, smoothed out coat, and then I wet my paint inlay and laid it into the wet paint. I'm making sure there's no wrinkles. I'm just taking my hand and rubbing all the wrinkles out, and then just to be sure, I also took a brayer and went over the entire thing to make sure all that paint inlay is making good contact with the wet paint underneath. Then I took my mister bottle and wet it all once again. This paint inlay has several borders, and they were the perfect size for my piece of wood. So I used a couple of different borders on the sides as well. Then I let everything dry naturally because I had a dozen other things I was doing. So I had the time. Then I re-wet it, blotted off any of the excess water with a dry paper towel, let it sit for just a minute, and pulled back to find the most amazing, beautiful image transferred into my paint. Oh my gosh, y'all. I put my favorite project as the very first project because I love this paint inlay. I have a table I want to do it on. I have several things I want to do it on. To finish this one off, I sealed it up. I added some gorgeous vintage hardware that I had in my stash, and it is so beautiful. I can't even tell you how beautiful this paint inlay is and how obsessed I am with it. Project number 2, we are using the Frames 3 mold. These have the most detail. I know we have a couple of other frames mold, but the sizes and the detail in this one are definitely a must-have. I had a customer recently introduce me to museum bees. I had never heard of them before, and I went down the rabbit hole of admiring all of these beautiful creations. And if you want to see them, just go to your Pinterest, put in museum bees, and head down that rabbit hole yourself. Well, of course, anytime I see something that is beautiful to me. I think, how can I recreate something like that? So, and then the same day that that customer told me that, I actually got the new IOD in, and this Frames 3 mold was perfect for it. So I mixed up some of the 10-minute resin, poured it into the frames, slowly pour it in so you don't over pour all those tiny details. And I did these three from Frames 3, and I did also some vintage brooches. Now, for the bees part, I'm going to take a assortment of other molds and just cast anything that fits inside those little frames with clay. The reason I'm doing these with clay is so that I can lay them onto the resin mold that's hard, and the clay mold will dry in the shape of the mold that I want to put it on. As you can see, I used some of the monarch mold. This is one of the smaller birds from Bird Song. What else did I use? Let's see. I don't know if I showed all of them. I did a few of the bugs from Specimen. Oh, yes, and we cannot forget the bees. These are in the Floral mold. There's 2 different size bees in there. And here's the specimens. So once everything had dried, I took them all outside, gave them one spray coat of a matte black finish. I did this because I plan to paint metallics over these at some point, and metallics always go great over a darker color. But first, I am taking probably vintage linen, and I'm just going over the center because I'm going to decoupage some in those. There's a lot of steps in this project, and I think it takes me about 7 to 8 minutes to get through it. But I really wanted to show y'all all these steps. It took me a good bit of time, but like I said, I was doing a lot of other things while things were drying, while things were setting up. Now I'm taking just a few little random pieces of recycled decoupage paper, and I'm actually using Mod Podge to decoupage these down. The reason I'm using Mod Podge is because if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I'm trying not to open anything and use what I have unless I have to. Well, I ran out of the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel. I also ran out of an open liquid patina, and I've had this open Mod Podge for a long time. So I'm trying to use it up. The only thing I don't like really about Mod Podge, it worked perfectly on these little circles, but I'm not crazy about the sheen that it leaves, but that's an easy fix, and I will fix that later. So I did all these little random pieces of decoupage paper and let that dry. And then for my little embellishments, here is where I'm coming in with the metallic paint. And first I'm using Golden Ticket, which is a DIY liquid patina. I did a few of them in the Golden Ticket, and then I also did a few using Fusion Bronze. Now this bronze has been open a while. I do need to use it, so it was kind of thick, but it's still covered perfectly. I did do 2 coats, and I painted the rest of my little embellishments with that. Once all those were dry, then I took some Titebond Quick and Thick, I think, or maybe, I think I actually used some E6000 because whatever reason, that is what is open, so that is what I'm using. So just know you can use all kinds of different products to get the same effect. We all have our favorites, but that doesn't mean that any of them won't work. So I glued all the little embellishments down on the frames. I did have to go back after I got everything glued. I did a little bit of touch up. There was some white spots showing. Can't have any of that. But I just did a little bit of touch up on that after I got all these glued down and they were dry. Now I'm going to take some of that metallic paint that I used on the embellishments, and I am going to highlight or dry brush over the details on the mold. I still want some of that black to show. I just want to be able to see all those details and really make them pop. So I did some of the bronze, and I wanted y'all to see this one up close. This is a new one, and look at the detail. Can you believe it? Now, I think these would be really cool to put a magnet on the back, but for the museum bees, they're usually hung in a grouping. So I went ahead and drilled holes and put eye hooks in them so they could be hung together. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the back just yet. And for the very last step, we're going to take care of that sheen just by adding a little bit of aging wax. Are these not so gorgeous? I cannot get over these molds, and I love how these turned out. I hope you did too. I know there was a lot of steps, but they were not hard. There was just a lot of steps. I'm going to link projects number 3 and 4 together because we're using the same paint color and the same stamp. To begin with, I found this riser cake tray. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's galvanized. Nothing galvanized ever sells, but if you give it a makeover, it does. So I'm taking Fusion in the color Brook. I love this color for summer and spring. Just a really pretty blue-green. And I also had this Decor board. It's Threshold. It was 2-tone. I like the 2-tone, but why don't we go ahead and make it 3-tone? It hasn't sold. It's been in the store for a long time. So I am going to use one of the new stamps called Nature's Etching. This one is full of all these beautiful botanicals, and they all fit so perfectly on my cutting board there. So I'm using IOD black ink, inking up my stamps, and I did sand them first. Whenever you get a new stamp set, you want to sand them just to season them a little bit where they take the ink. And as you can see, I am softly pressing my finger over every little part of that stamp, and I ended up getting a perfect impression. And look how beautiful they are. So the IOD ink is permanent, but it will smear until it dries. So be sure you let it dry good. Taking another one of those botanicals, and it's actually one of the ones I already used, but it fit perfectly in the center, and I loved it. And I did have a little bit of oopsie there, but see, while the ink is wet, I can clean that right up. I'm also going to do one on the front, and I find that using tape is the easiest way to stamp onto a curved surface. I do recommend masking tape and not packing tape, but that is what I had, and I did end up pulling just a little bit of paint off, and that's no problem. I will go back and touch that up. And then finally, to finish this one off, I took some of that black ink and I just went around the edges. Let everything dry good, and these are both so beautiful. I love this color. I think I do have some Brook in stock. It's a Fusion mineral paint all in one. By the way, in case you're new here, I do have all the paint and products you will need to upcycle your own thrift store makeovers, and I also sometimes will sell the actual projects that I make over. So check out Susie on the Farm.com for that. Moving on to project number 5, we're sticking with the same Fusion mineral paint in the color Brook. I picked up this salt and pepper grinder at the thrift store. I think I paid $1.99 each for them. I pick these up often. You find them all the time. They even are still in production, I believe. You can get them exactly like this. A matter of fact, so I didn't feel bad about painting, but a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that these two have never been used. I always clean them really well, and I don't think any salt or pepper had ever been in these. So I'm keeping that two-tone because I love that wood tone, and I am using the Belgravia transfer book. It is beautiful. It's got all these teacups, and I'm going to give you a really close look at it later. But for these two, I decided they're very curved and lots of shapes on these. So usually I will cut my paint inlays up, but these were quite small. I mean, not paint inlays. I will cut my transfers to make them easier to apply. But these were not very large. I was pretty sure I could get it without too many wrinkles. And also, if it did wrinkle, these are like old papers and like tea bags, images. So it's fine if they're not on there perfect. But I was able to slowly get them transferred. This is obviously sped up, but I just took my time, did little places at a time, and then used my finger to completely burnish them down. The final step is to seal up that transfer, and for that I used one even layer of Big Top. These are so gorgeous. Wait till you see the rest of this transfer, and don't worry, we're going to use it some more next. This beautiful box for only $3.99 at the thrift store. I actually loved it just like it is. That color is similar to the color we've been using and the color that is all throughout the Belgravia transfer pack. The inside was lovely. The only thing I'm going to change is that top part because I just have to use this transfer on it. I'm using crinoline again because I think after I put some aging wax, it's going to be the closest to the rest of that box. Usually when I'm using a transfer, I like to use fusion paint because I don't need to seal it. But I just had so many things going on. I knew I would have time to let this one dry completely. So I sealed it up with Big Top. And I put it outside. It was a nice day and it dried really good. And I had absolutely no trouble transferring this image onto the box. And y'all, this fit on this box so perfectly. It's like it was made to go on this box. And all I did from here is just add another little teacup and a couple other floral transfers here and there, and this box is done, except for, like I said, I did add some of the aging wax just to seal. One, that transfer needs to be sealed. Two, it will darken up that crinoline just a tad, and this box is gorgeous, y'all. I think I'm gonna have to keep it for myself, but I really don't have anywhere to put it, so check the website. It might be available, and it's so beautiful. And I couldn't get the lighting right on these pictures. Sorry about that. I did figure it out later. So I just couldn't stop with the Belgravia transfer pack. And as you know, in the past, I have been a hoarder of beautiful transfers. And I decided no more, I'm going to use them. So I might as well use them in this video. Here's a little peek at what's in that transfer pack. It is so loaded up. So these are some canisters that I actually had in my hutch at home. They were thrifted, of course. I had just never used them. I put them in there just to be pretty, and the colors on them gorgeous, and I think that they will look so cute with a little teacup on there. So I decided on a couple, And I think I even changed my mind and decided on a couple more because they're all just so gorgeous. I put the transfer directly over ceramic, had absolutely no trouble transferring them on. And then I did want to seal these, mostly because whoever gets them, they will probably end up in a kitchen near a stove, and I always like to seal those. So again, I used Big Top, and I went over the entire surface of both canisters just to make them easy to wipe off. Big Top didn't change the sheen any on them at all. They're so pretty. I did come back, and I don't have any pictures of that. I put a little floral on the lids because I just felt like they needed something too. We've made it to the last project, and I don't know if you know, but I also make books, or junk journals to be specific, and a lot of times I will use packaging. So today I thought I would use some packaging that is a coffee filter box, and I thought I would make a book. And this is the new mold Bookish, and it is so perfect for journal makers, for embellishing the spines of your books. So I'm using air dry clay. I cast one of the spines, and I needed to add just a little bit more to make it fit my packaging. I went ahead and painted it, and for that I am using Fusion metallic pearl just to give it a pretty sheen. I only did one coat over this white air dry clay, and I let that dry. And while that was drying, I went ahead and did all the book things. And if you want to get more detail on that, how I actually make a book out of that packaging, be sure you subscribe to my other YouTube channel, and it is called Susie Scraps. I will link it below. It's all paper crafting, so I left that part out of this video, but I'm actually going to be doing this journal completely beginning to end on my next video over there. So the clay's still not completely dry, but it is hard enough I can maneuver it like I want it. And I did take some silver rub and buff to highlight some of those areas. And now I'm taking a new stamp, and this one's called the Connoisseur's Library, I believe. And it is made specifically for embellishing the spines of books. There's all kinds. If you are a junk journal person, this is the stamp for you. So I did fix up that spine with a couple, and then I also used some of the beautiful botanicals before I did bind my book together. Went through and just randomly stamped a few of the botanicals throughout the book, and look at that, y'all. They're so amazing. You're getting a little bit of peek at the book here, and I will put some final images up. This book will also be for sale. My junk journals sell quickly, as fast as I can make them. They take quite a long time to make. I can't believe I even got this one made in 2 to 3 days, especially with all the other things that I have going on. But if you're interested in this journal, it is going to be under the books and ephemera section of Susie on the Farm. So I just finished putting a few more of these stamps in. I love this stamp set. I'm gonna get lots of use out of it. And if you are a paper crafter or junk journaler too, this is definitely a must-have stamp. That is all my projects this week. I can't wait to use more of the new IOD. They're all loaded up on susieonthefarm.com if you need something. And now, as promised, I'm going to show you each product in detail. Alfred Peets & Co. is a dreamy collection of vintage wallpaper designs inspired by a museum archive sample from renowned artist Alfred Peets. Rooted in classic European interiors, this set features refined, repeating block print patterns with coordinating borders, vignettes, and other corner flourishes in multiple colorways. The palette offers a fresh, timeless mix of French blues, buttery yellows, and grassy greens. With 8 pages, this inlay brings an elegant, collected feel and the enduring charm of vintage wallpaper. Little Lark is IOD's first 8x12 small format paint inlay created for detailed, smaller scale projects. The artwork is drawn from the 19th century book The Bird by Jules Michelet, featuring birds, nests, florals, and pastoral vignettes in a classic toile-inspired layout, full of charming details that you just have to see up close to appreciate. Athenaeum is inspired by vintage book covers and interior pages, including The Bird by Jules Michelet and a Pride and Prejudice cover by Jane Austen. Rooted in the idea of Athenaeum, a place devoted to learning, culture, and the quiet exchange of ideas. This collection invokes the romance of old libraries, well-loved pages, and stories passed from hand to hand. Spine elements are designed to pair with the bookish mold, making it easy to create detailed book stacks and literary accents. The Belgravia is a transfer set created from vintage teacup illustrations sourced from a British museum. The original artwork used in the production of these teacups and plates in the 1800s. The collection is expanded with additional elements like birds, spoons, and florals, offering a range of pieces that work naturally together. Well suited for trays, wall art, and decorative accents. Fern Fables is a hand-painted watercolor collection by artist and IOD stockist Lexi Grenzer, also known for the best-selling Whispering Willows transfer. Inspired by watercolor botanical infused folk art, the set features birds, botanicals, and decorative motifs with a whimsical touch. Flowers by Poets is a full-scale transfer sourced from antique botanical lithographs and paired with poetic text. Those who delighted in the smaller Lover of Flowers transfer will be sure to love these similar designs in a large format. The collection brings together florals, birds, and typography drawn from historic sources. Designed with furniture and large decor pieces in mind, it's well suited for statement applications and decorative panels while still offering flexibility for smaller accents and detailed work. Marché des Fleurs, French for flower market, is a build-your-own bouquet transfer inspired by the charm of gathering blooms at a traditional European market. Rooted in 19th century botanical illustrations, hand-painted by naturalist Etienne Denis, it includes 4 core bouquets along with pages of individual stems and sprigs, allowing you to create custom arrangements at a range of scales. Primrose Isle features artworks from wildflowers of the British Isles, showcasing florals found throughout the region in a light, airy watercolor style. The collection pairs delicate botanicals with small nature elements for soft, nature-inspired design. It includes the full-page cover of the original book, ideal for a complete composition on a tray or wall art, along with smaller groupings for accents and detailed works. Frames, borders, and corners are also woven throughout the pages. Cadre, meaning frame, features ornate, Baroque-inspired frame elements designed for building decorative frames and embellishments. The collection includes intricate scroll work and framing components that bring European look to your projects. Frames 3 is a collection of pillowed frames inspired by vintage tiny frames with ornate Baroque style detailing. Each frame features a smooth center, creating a ready surface for stamping, paint inlays, or transfers. Bookish features a collection of classic book spines with ornate detailing designed for building book stacks and adding a smidge of literary brilliance to your decor. Each spine is cast as a separate element, giving you the flexibility to customize your book stack. Swans features large, detailed swan motifs with graceful movement, designed so that they can be used individually in facing designs or back to back. The Connoisseur's Library is a thoughtfully curated stamp set with a distinctly bookish feel. It brings together ephemera, typography, and ornamental details reminiscent of a well-loved library, pieces that feel gathered over time. Designed as a 6x6 4-sheet box set, it's especially suited for decorating book and journal spines and specifically for detailing on the bookish mold spines from this release. It's a natural fit for book lovers. This set lends itself to projects that celebrate storied scholastical aesthetic. Orleans is a refined texture stamp inspired by a vintage map sourced from a map collector at a Paris flea market. Designed as a 12x12 single sheet, it's ideal for all-over applications on furniture and mixed media. Nature's Etching is a beautifully detailed stamp set sourced from an 1800s botanical book, preserving the fine line work of antique botanical illustration. Designed as a 12x12 double sheet, it allows you to use the elements together or individually. The collection includes delicate florals, insects, and classic oval frames, each element chosen for its rich detail and historical character. Dessins de Broderie, French for embroidery designs, is a typographic alphabet set inspired by a vintage embroidery book. Each letter form is intricately adorned with ornate florals and foliage. Designed as a 6x6 box set, it includes 2 full alphabets along with additional elements that echo the same botanical detailing. Also note, one set is missing the letter X. IOD prepared a easy step-by-step go around for that.